You are already enough. You don't need to earn your worth. You need to notice it. Anonymous. Hello and welcome. My name is Rebeca, and this is the Amor Factor. Hello, masterpieces, life helpers, caregivers, artists, and co-creators. In our last episode, we explored the power of written language, why even in this age of prevalent technology, it's still valuable to stay connected to the simple act of putting pen to paper. We talked about how handwriting can support focus, clarity, and memory throughout your life, and how creativity often emerges as a natural byproduct of slowing down enough to write by hand. If you missed episode 13, we dug into those ideas in more depth there. If you have a few minutes, check that episode next. Today we're going to expand on that innate creative gift we've all been given. That capacity to dream and conjure new things and ideas that are latent, waiting for you to visualize, explore, and bring into shape so the rest of humanity can enjoy and share. Before we go further, I want to introduce you to a field many people don't even know exists, neuroaesthetics. The term was first coined by Semir Zeki in 1999 when he proposed that we could study art by looking at what the brain is doing while we experience it. In his 2001 essay, Artistic Creativity in the Brain, published in Science, Zeki argues that artists often uncover principles of how the brain works through their creative exploration of form and perception. In other words, once you understand what the brain is doing, it becomes easier to see why a circle or a line can feel like more than geometry. Your brain doesn't just register the shape, it interprets it. The meaning comes from you, your memories, your emotions, your experiences. That's why a simple form can carry significance that only the viewer can give it. So why does this matter? Because you may never look at your doodling the same way again. After all, doodling is pure shape making. It's circles, lines, loops, arrows, simple yet complicated forms. And although you may not feel like you're composing a work of art, I think your brain may argue otherwise. Granted, doodling can have many purposes, but we'll stick to the creative side of things. It's obvious to me that creative doodling can take you on a maze of exploration that expands your creativity. So is making shapes actually good for your brain? And how does it expand your creativity? Notice how I keep saying making shapes, because the moment I use the word drawing, people sit up straight and rush to announce that they're not an artist or that they absolutely cannot draw. But here's what I want to ask you. Can you make a shape? A circle? A line? A squiggle? And guess what? You can draw. Drawing is just shapes. And the moment you let yourself play with those shapes, your brain lights up. You're engaging attention, memory, imagination, all the things that make creativity possible. Science actually backs this up. Making shapes, whether you call it drawing, doodling, or just scribbling in the margins, is good for your brain. It keeps your attention engaged, boosts your memory, and even sparks creativity. Regardless of whether you think you have a talent for drawing or not, you just need a pen, a surface, and a shape. A 2010 study titled What Does Doodling Do? By Jackie Andrade found that doodling improves attention and memory. In addition, a 2016 article from Harvard Health explains that doodling can support thinking, focus, and again, memory. And there's even research emphasizing that making shapes can spark creativity. A 2022 study from Dominican University of California titled Doodling as a Self-Expression reports that, quote, the findings of this study suggest that doodling can increase creative self-efficacy in normally functioning adults, end of quote. Now, creative self-efficacy is just another way of describing your belief in your own creative ability. Basically, your creative self-confidence. So we can suggest that when you make shapes, freehand shapes, as in doodling, You're strengthening that belief. And once that belief strengthens, your brain becomes more willing to explore, to take risks, to imagine. In other words, the simple act of making shapes doesn't just reflect creativity, it actively grows it. That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. Okay, that was my attempt at humor. But in all reality, what do you have to lose by doodling a little? At the very least, you're keeping the connection between your head and your hands sharp for as long as possible. Andrade's study also shows that doodling helps the mind settle. She found that the simple act of doodling keeps the brain lightly engaged, reducing mental overload. So you could say that's one of the reasons it feels so calming. And there's something beautiful about how this connects to faith, too. In Isaiah 64:8, it says, "Yet you, Lord, are our Father. We are the clay. You are the potter. We are the work of your hand." In this verse, the amazing work of shaping, forming, and crafting by God is poetically expressed. And if shaping is part of God's nature, then it makes sense that the desire to make shapes or designs is deeply rooted inside us, not just to enjoy, but to explore and reinvent connections we may have only imagined before. It looks simple, but the power it holds, even for relaxation, is quietly profound. So this week, take a deep breath. Look and listen. Reflect on all that surrounds you. Then pick up a pen and doodle a little, or doodle a lot. Be in the moment and let your imagination draw the path for you. No limitations. It's your doodle, and no one else gets to judge his content unless you choose to share it. Enjoy the fact that this is your creative exercise, and be present. I will talk to you again soon. My name is Rebeca, and this is the Amor Factor.